first leg. It's John to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, I don't dispute that whatsoever. What a moment it was for Bob Anderson and every darts fan around the world seeing that. But we're starting with John Boy, who has won the bullseye in the practice room, which is just upstairs, and we don't have to wait long for our first Robin Hood.
There was then 3-1 to Manley against Headman. Mentioned that he's playing Taylor tonight. An epic battle between Kevin Painter and Tony O'Shea. 3-2 in a tie-break to Kevin Painter. And Richie Howson, who lives just down the road from the Circus Tavern, sent Daryl Fitton packing a 3-2 victory for him. So those players all through to the second round. We'll have our final 4 prelim matches, if you like, in this afternoon session, before Painter returns to face Wayne Warren, as Ray and Bobby were saying at the start of the show. Martin Adams against Richie Howson, then that Taylor Manley clash before Trina Gulliver, the 10-time women's world champion, faces Robert Thornton. Les Wallace, well, that's the reaction tells you he wasn't aiming there, Paul.
Yeah, I don't think that was on purpose. That may have been a somewhat serendipitous treble 18, and I think John Boy Walton sees the funny side of it as well. A lot of these players have shared ockies in the past.
60.
Well, these two have never played each other. That surprises me a little bit. 4 years between their 2 World Championship victories. Of course, 97 for Les Wallace against Marshall James of Wales. John Boy Walton, when he won
25.
it, he went into that World Championship as the reigning World Master.
Yeah, nice symmetry between the pair of them in terms of records in their career, winning those 2 major titles once
81.
each. In fact, Les Wallace only ever really won one other title, which was the British Internationals.
Quite incredible when you think about what he has won and what he hasn't. Because if you were going to have a short list of what you want to win around the late 90s, you would say, well, maybe the World Masters, the World Championship, and maybe one other thing in there. Well, that's exactly what Les did. The fact that he didn't win anything else is a bit of a mystery.
43.
Certainly can be a dangerous opponent on his day. But for many of these players, we're not sure how many good darting days are still ahead of them.
59.
We saw some mixed performances last night. I think the standard was decent enough. Robert Thornton certainly leading the way. We saw some battling qualities from other players. We're seeing some magic here from wonderful Walton.
123.
Grimace after
Leisure require 170.
The floor if Wallace pops out the 170.
Not possible now. Lots of familiar faces in the crowd this afternoon. People who were here last
24.
night, staying all weekend.
John, you require 137.
World Seniors Championship action. Downstairs for the 137. That's good. Leaves 80. Might go 16s here. It's very tiny.
121.
As Wallace needs the equivalent of 619s for a shot at double 16. I want the 20s route, and now John Boy will come back.
Double 8 for the Yorkshireman.
43.
Bradford, born in Sheffield.
John, you require 16.
Steele is Yorkshire grit in this match. Double 8
Game
for
on the
starters.
first leg.
Takes the
John
opening
Walton.
leg in the opening match on day 2 at the World
Second leg,
Seniors
it's Les to
Championship.
throw first.
Pretty sure
Game
that's the
on.
double he hit to win that world title 21 years ago. I've got a little tale to tell about John Walton. Back in the year of 2000, he played
140.
local competition up towards Newcastle, the Northumberland Open. Big deal. Lots of big time players around that time used to come to that tournament, and John Walton beat me in the second round. He didn't win the tournament, but there was a buzz about him.
45.
He went on to win the World Masters 2 months later, and everybody within the game thought, he's going to go and win at Lakeside, isn't he? And he went and did it.
It certainly was a good night for John Boy.
60.
Will he be enjoying a good afternoon here? I really enjoyed his interview actually with Helen before this match. He was very jovial, very pleased to be here, a darts fanatic by his own admission. And he said they'd all be winding each other up. There is a great camaraderie. You've been around the venue and the various hotels bumping into the players. They're all really enjoying this kind of reunion, aren't they?
Absolutely right. There are some very focused individuals in the practice room upstairs, and there are some people who are really enjoying just being in this atmosphere once again.
85.
But make no mistake, They all want to get their fingerprints on that glowing new trophy, which is a masterpiece.
Yeah, it is an absolutely magnificent piece of silverware, engraved into the flights, paying tribute to the world darts champions that we've lost over the years. Eric Bristow, Jockey Wilson, the first ever world champion in Leighton Rees, and of course Andy Fordham, who sadly passed away last year.
45.
Lovely touch, and a beautiful, beautiful trophy that the winner will lift, and the small matter of the £30,000 cheque to go alongside it.
100.
I haven't heard any of the players talking about the money, funnily enough. I've heard them talking about the trophy though. I think that tells a story. McDanger needs to get this leg to be on level terms
64.
in the middle portion of this first set, otherwise he's in trouble.
107 when Wallace comes back, but he's going to be under
138.
most possible pressure.
Leisure require 107.
With a heavy score. Decisions to make. Well, he hadn't made the decision before he approached the hockey. I don't think he's made it yet. Which way are you going, Les? Well, it worked out all right. 7 for tops. Double top for McDanger.
Game shot in the second
make his mind up.
Les Wallace.
He was absolutely perfect with that finish. 1-1.
Third leg, it's John to throw first.
Just goes to show, even when you've got the experience of Les Wallace, sometimes you're not so sure when there's a bit of nerves and pressure what you're going to do, but as long as you get the execution right, and the execution was perfect there from John Boy, who really enjoyed that one.
Loving life at the Circus Tavern, the first maximum of this Friday double session at the darts.
He got a rush from that, you know.
45.
Just looking at the expression of John Boy Walton at the back of the stage there, that really did get some enjoyment. And look at the deep breath there from John Boy Walton. Love that.
Well, he was the first man, of course, to hit a 9-dart finish at the World
60.
Masters. And he achieved that feat back in 2007.
And he did so at the perfect time for a 9-darter. You might think, that's a silly thing to say. There's never a bad time to hit a 9-darter. But he hit it in the last leg of the match. That's when you can really enjoy
81.
it. Yeah, just don't have to cast our minds back too long, do we? Think of Willie Borland at the Alexandra Palace at the World Championship, which I keep reminding you, but I think it's worth mentioning, was won by a player who is over the bullseye age and could play in this tournament if he wasn't ranked second in the world and had a tour card.
Yeah, the comparisons between the current PDC World Champion Peter Wright and someone like Les Wallace, for instance.
9.
They live in England. They passionately play for Scotland. Nothing wrong with that. But you don't need to be someone who is a master of geography to figure out where John Boy Walton's from. Just look at the back of his shirt. There's 2 white roses on it.
It was an evergreen
140.
current pro still that he beat to win his World Masters title in Mervyn King back at the turn of the millennium. But he's really picked his game up, hasn't he? That 180 has aided him.
140.
Something similar, but this.
John, you require 36.
That could be kind.
Game shot in the third leg.
2-1 to John Boy Walton in the first set. It's a decent game so far.
Fourth leg, it's Les to throw first.
Just got the feeling that John is starting to settle into the rhythm that was very evident in his heyday. He hasn't played a great deal of big-time darts over the last few seasons, but
62.
He still fancies it. I've seen him at things like qualifying school for the PDC, certain independent events. But that aimed first dart,
100.
and then the continued dart 2 and 3, that's been something, and it's been part of his game for the best part of 25 years.
Yeah, it's a well enjoyed and well participated in sport in Yorkshire. I should know, being from that part of the world myself.
31.
There's been a few flagship names. We haven't had these spells of really Yorkshire being a darting hotbed at the same time, but you think of course, Dennis Priestley, who we will be hearing from over the course of this tournament.
85.
And more recently, Joe Cullen picking up the Masters title just last weekend, playing in the Premier League for the first time last night. Scott Waits, of course, a Grand Slam champion and world champion as well.
Yeah, you can dig a little deeper as well when it comes to Yorkshire.
99.
One of the godfathers of Yorkshire darts, Dennis Hickling, is a great name. If you mention Dennis to John Boy Walton, they'll know who he is. He played multiple times for England and over 200 caps for Yorkshire.
64.
Incredible player.
Note to self, do not get involved in a game of on-air top trumps with Paul Nicholson.
It's not just the men as well. They've had a great ladies team for many, many years. Rachel Brooks is still playing very, very well at the minute. She's a proud Yorkshire player.
The treble to leave the finish. Well, that makes it a bit tricky.
30.
Because Les Wallace is in command of this leg. As you can see by the averages there, a much poorer performance from Les in the match, but the averages are not the most important stat, and it could soon be 2-2 if he can all of a sudden put his best leg of the match together.
140.
Walk away with the first set.
I don't think Les is playing too badly. It's just a question of bad visit, good visit. And if he can get the consistency a bit more, he will trouble John Boy Walton's position. But that's beautifully done from John.
Leisure requires
utilising
70.
the 18s, very Priestley-esque.
A bit more assured about which route he's going to take this time, Les Wallace. 20 now for tops. Nicely done. Fabulous finishing from the Scotsman when he gets to that part of the game. He's having no trouble at all. Technical stuff from Wallace. And Walton is facing a little bit of McDanger now.
Wallace, the left-hander,
140.
doing very James Wade things. And there is a bit of symmetry between Les and James, of course, because they're from the same county, living-wise anyway. County of Hampshire, down on the south coast of England.
85.
It's very much famine or feast, isn't it, for Les Wallace so far in this match? Darts in and around the treble 20, or just flying off like that last one did. Walton, the more consistent performer of the pair.
140.
Set play. So often it can come down to the fifth legs, and that's what's happening here.
Yeah, just ask Kevin Painter from last night. He could have easily won his match 3-0, but unfortunately it went all the way to 10 legs in the last set. There would have been a collective sigh of relief from Team Painter last night, but the main thing is he got over the line.
It was Team Howson that were the most emotional people in Essex.
60.
Yesterday evening we saw Richie's mum in tears just behind the stage. Walton is on a finish here. Wallace will need to find a couple of trebles to join him, and he's not going to do that.
26.
Plenty of time
John, you
for
require
John Walton to take care of this
161.
first set. That's a nice lie to sneak one in over the top. Should really go 25 and bull here,
100.
but as we've seen in the previous session last night, a lot of the new school tactics are not being implemented by these old school players. The use of the 25 is not as prevalent in this tournament as it is with others.
137.
Just worried he might
John, you require 61.
The old-fashioned just keep throwing at treble 20 until you get near a finish. But Walton's on a double here for a second 14 dart leg of this match. Double 18 he hit for the first, can't find it for the second.
52.
Nor double 9, so a champagne shot on offer here for Les Wallace.
Require 132.
The first set.
Boy, that was a quick dart from Walton at double 9. He's still shaking his head. Is Wallace going to be doing the opposite? He's not right now.
60.
Walton's got a tricky looking 9 here.
John, you require
These finishes
9.
never get any attention on the practice board. But double 4's going to get his attention for set 1. Double 2.
Game
and it is found in the bottom left corner.
John Walton.
As John Boy Walton takes a 1-set-to-love lead after some tricky moments with Les Wallace.
Second set, first leg.
In their first set on stage, and it's a big sigh of relief
Game on.
for the man in glasses.
Well, Walton said before the match that there'd be some winding up going on in the practice room. He employed a bit of that on the stage there, right in the face of Les Wallace, just showed him how close it was.
43.
Now work to do again. Wallace hoping for another opportunity, but in the end, Walton getting over the line and probably deserving that opening set.
I'd have to agree. He played really well
40.
on his own throw. I remember growing up and talking to some of the great players from where I grew up in Northumberland, and they always emphasised the importance of holding your throw and just getting that one
60.
little breaker throw that will really help you in a longer format match. But set play is something they probably haven't been exposed to a lot
60.
in the last few years. Even Les Wallace talking to Helen Chamberlain at the start of the programme, saying that he hasn't been exposed to anything like this for 20 years.
Yeah, he's played plenty of local tournaments.
95.
Darts Hanoraks will know he's appeared at the Live League, an online tournament that many players have been using as practice for different reasons, people at different stages of their career.
100.
Nothing like this, being on stage at the Circus Tavern in front of a crowd and with the World Championship to play for.
What is it about plasterers being good dart players, by the way, Murph?
Well, it seems to be jobs that begin with people.
98.
We've got Mark Webster joining us on comms later today. He's a plumber, not the only one. We've got a couple of postmen, Joe Cullen and Raymond van Barneveld. Plastering the
Dieter Hedman as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, in this tournament.
140.
Now, I just want to make it clear before people start getting in touch on social media, I don't actually believe that. Just a bit of fun.
87.
Interesting play
John,
there
you
from Les, and I think that was the right play to try and get the 25 to leave the 2-darter. And we're trying the 161 once again for John Boy Walton.
99.
But he is playing steady
Leisure
stuff. That average of around 85
118.
has plateaued, and if he keeps it there, he might be good enough to win this match.
Wallace will be disappointed there because his finishers in this match have been in this range,
30.
70 and 107.
John, you require
Clinical
62.
kills just to tell his opponent that he's going to take out those kind of things. But he could find himself here being broken. Double 16 the target.
Game
and in
shot
it
on
goes,
the first
and
leg.
it is
John
break
Walton.
that John Boy needed. It's all looking very, very comfortable for
Second
him
leg,
now.
it's John to
as
throw
he bids
first. Game
set
on.
up a second round tie with the 3-time champion of the world, John Part.
We know that John Part has been practicing very hard for this. Indeed, he went to
100.
qualifying school just to prepare for this. Interesting tactic there from the all-time legend Canadian.
If he'd have practiced too well, he might have ruled himself out of this. We do love John Part, and I know he's very, very excited. I had a quick chat with him yesterday.
41.
Really looking forward to getting back on the stage. He was actually asking what it's laid out like. I said, exactly like you remember, John. And you could just see the glint in his eye.
Carpet's a different colour.
100.
The back wall's a different colour. But this is the Circus Tavern. It can't be anywhere else. When you walk into this building, you know exactly where you are in the world. This is where
60.
big time darts really changed around 1994. And I think we are esteemed and privileged to be having the company of Dennis Priestley later in the week.
Priestley in the crowd last night, but his fellow Yorkshireman John Walton is taking care of business on the stage. Won that first set 3-2 despite the 2
41.
combination checkouts from Wallace. There's broken throw in the first leg of set 2. A race to 3 sets, remember, in this
81.
opening round.
Got to be something sizable here from Les Wallace. 9 darts thrown, 3-5-9 left. That's under par.
41.
That's not going to
John,
cut it.
you
John
require
Walton is starting to stretch his
160.
legs a little bit here. He'll have another one of those.
100.
If you'd offered him a ton for that visit, he would have said yes, please. Nice and easy, leaving 60, and the way his darts sit in the board, wherever he hits the 20, that tops is going to be open. Although I do believe, Murph, his darts are going in
100.
slightly more upright than they were
John,
when he
you
won the world
require
title 21 years
60.
ago.
Plenty of room still. Maybe he can use that.
40.
He hasn't been able to, but Wallace still stranded. Above 200.
Trying to sandwich it in the middle there and
55.
just hooks his follow
John,
through to the left, which
20.
has plagued him a little bit in this match. Double 10 for Walton. Double 5. Doesn't want to go inside.
10.
A little bit negative with the reaction to that second miss at double 5, and Wallace is cursing himself for leaving 163.
Misfire to do so.
45.
I think he may even be cursing himself for not going
John,
further into that 163
10.
than he did, because this is dodgy. That's why he's splitting it. 2. He's missed not just the big number, the double as well. It's just one dart. The double
6.
4. Wobbly from Walton there.
Leisure require 118.
John understands how important this leg is to give himself the breathing space in set 2. 60 needed, and very unfortunate not to get it.
58.
This one suits John Walton, because
John,
if he misses it on the
require
outside,
4.
he can use the dart as a bumper. Double 1.
2.
It's all a bit messy on the outer ring from John Boy Walton,
Leisure
and he's
require
gifting this
60.
leg to Les Wallace.
Having got that breaker throw, Walton's doubling has deserted him. Les Wallace has been deadly on the double so far. Double 10.
50.
Would have been a steal, but it may still be on, because double 1 is not where you want to be.
John, you require
Particularly
2.
having missed bucket loads of doubles to get there, which is usually the case.
Loads of scar tissue in this leg on the doubles. Needs some help from that dart, or the first one.
Game
But it's
time,
clean,
second leg.
and it's in there.
John
He's
Walton.
shaking his head, but inside he will feel
Third
he
leg,
can
it's
breathe
next to
again as he
front
takes a
first.
2-0 lead in
Game
set
on.
2.
What has Wallace got in response? John Boy Walton had a 14 dart leg. This is what he's got in response. Yeah, 14 dart leg in the third leg of the first set. But it may be that leg there that was twice as long that proves to be the pivotal point in the match.
60.
Legs like that, where you do sneak it in the end, the relief is evident in your own body and mind. And your next visit, you're thinking, oh, I just want to go back to the treble 20. I'm sick of throwing at doubles. You don't want to be throwing at doubles
140.
for a long period of time. This is much better from Les Wallace. A couple of 140s in this leg. That will cheer him up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe even more annoying.
58.
Managed to steal that last leg, because he's got to win 3 on the spin here to turn this set around and level up the match at the interval.
Superb leg. Keep this going. John Walton
62.
is going to need something gargantuan. Oh, there is Dennis Priestley, looking very resplendent and classy once again. Well, that's pretty sizable. And Les, silly Les, has left 159, but Dennis Priestley, what a man. What a Yorkshire man.
They will have the pleasure of his company some point this weekend.
41.
Dennis Priestley could write a book about this place alone. Finals, a win, all the other stories.
134.
Walton is trying to
Leisure
write his
require
own story.
118.
Creeping up on Les Wallace's position. And this might have to go, Les. Double top. Oh, that's really good. What a superb leg from the 97 champ. He enjoyed that, and I think everybody here at the Circus Tavern did too.
Game on.
It's a second ton-topping checkout for Les Wallace to go with 107 from the second leg
85.
in the match. Also had a 70 combination.
One thing I will say about Les Wallace is that everybody remembers when he won the Lakeside Championship back in 97, but nobody seems to remember the fact he was in the
45.
semi-finals the year before. 96, of course, was Steve Beaton's year, where he beat Richie Burnett. But what I love about
45.
what Les has done this afternoon is that he's almost paid homage to himself by wearing a rugby shirt that is almost identical to what he wore 25 years ago. So it does beg the question, doesn't it? Why didn't everybody else get the memo and wear their World Championship winning shirt? For John Boy Walton, it would have been, I think, a Yorkshire County shirt. White with trim of blue.
I'm glad you put it like you did, Paul. I thought you were going down the route of suggesting he was wearing the exact same shirt.
That's definitely a newer version. But it's interesting when you talk to certain world champions, do they still own the shirt that they wore when they won the World Championship, of
45.
course? I know Richie Burnett does not.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can ask one in the next match, because Mark Webster will be stepping into the commentary box.
Yeah, no, he's got that one. He's got it in a frame. He's already told me.
You
can frame that one, John Boy. Beautifully done. And he wants to get rid of this set without any more McDanger.
Second maximum of the match for John Boy Walton. Closing in on a 2-set lead.
78. John, you require 56.
It'll be 16 for tops. Now double 10.
36.
Time on his side.
You don't mind missing a couple there, but it's what he does now that's the most important. Taking the deep breath. This is where the experience comes in. He does not want to be looking at double 5.
100.
If you miss this,
John, you
just
require
outside will
20.
do.
Edging closer.
No
Not yet close enough. Can Wallace get the game closer?
Require 148.
This would be a haymaker of sorts. Got to throw this hard. He's going to go for the 48. He almost gets it. I'm really surprised he went that route, but it almost paid off.
John, you require
It would have been McMagic from Les Wallace. But Walton wins the set.
John Walton.
He's had a few scares.
First leg, it's John to throw first. Game on.
Paul Lim coming up next against Dave Prinz, who got in as a qualifier. Prinz is going to play at the Circus Tavern and the Lakeside in the space of just a few months, isn't he?
That's right.
49.
He's qualified for the WDF World Championship in a couple of months' time. So the Badger's getting plenty of TV time, but how much will he get over the next few days? Yeah. It might just be an hour if Paul Lim's got anything to do with it.
Very interesting
22
to see how that one goes, because we saw one qualifier win last night, but we've seen Paul Lim at the World Championship very, very recently. Seen him at many World Championships in recent years.
Yeah, quite a few.
Another historic name in the world of darts. We're also going to see a former World Match Play winner in Larry Butler, a former World Grand Prix winner in Alan Warren a little. Roland Sholton, the Dutchman,
24.
taking on Terry Jenkins in the final match of the afternoon session.
We got a little bit of insight, didn't we, earlier in the week, looking at the action of Sholton. He looked pretty sharp, and I think Terry Jenkins will have to play well today to beat Roland Sholton. But Les Wallace has got to up this scoring, otherwise he's going to be going back to Hampshire pretty soon. The man nicknamed McDanger, which sounds like a very, very sharp sandwich from a very well-known restaurant. I'm not sure I would order it.
40.
Maybe he missed a trick on the old sponsorship routine there.
You can imagine going to the counter, can't you, and saying, yeah, I'll have a McDanger. That's better. That was smooth. All three darts delivered with a smooth follow-through. That was very, very nice indeed. But Walton has still got the advantage of throw here at the start of set 3. And he's taking full advantage of it with a steady ton of his own. Yeah, just looking very comfortable now, John Walton. Has had a couple of maximums in this match, though it's Wallace who's produced the 2
ton-topping checkouts. Maybe Walton has got one up his sleeve when he returns. The fact that Wallace is not on a finish
22
may change his tune about which route to go, but he does want to please the crowd, and he can still do this. Treble 20 for Bull, not to be.
32.
See a heck of a bullseye checkout last night from Richie Howson, and it was a big key shot as well against Daryl Fitton, long-time England teammate of John Boy Walton. And it could be the bullseye that he needs.
55.
With Wallace on a finish now,
John, you require
it's 20-20
90.
Bull, or 60 for double 15. It's double 15. What a marker.
60.
He just needed another dart, didn't he? But you only get three, John.
Require 140.
To wait till next time if you're given the chance.
All he can do now is try and leave tops and put pressure onto what is a difficult
100.
double. That's exactly what he's done.
John, you require
But he
30.
considers splitting this time. He's having a good think about this.
He's splitting it. He's looking at the 14. Well, it's a good job he didn't hit the treble 11 or the treble 14, otherwise that was visit over. As it stands, single 11 leaves 19. That leaves double 1.
28.
That would have been a somewhat round the houses route. It almost paid off.
40.
Will this pay off for Wallace?
Would have been an unorthodox finish from Walton, who didn't really fancy the double 15.
20.
But he fancy the double 1 when he comes back. At least he doesn't have to think
John,
about
you
this.
require 2.
Knows exactly what he has to do.
Only one route for this. It could be friendly.
Game shot on the
and was very
leg.
friendly.
John Walton.
In off the bar.
Second leg, it's
1-0
left
to
to throw
Walton
first.
in set
Game
number
on.
3. To the ecstatic nature of some of our fans here at the Circus Tavern, who are having a fantastic time on a Friday afternoon.
43.
Wallace just missing opportunities in the last couple of legs. Could have made a great difference to the scoreline, but it is looking like John Boy Walton is going to close out
85.
a rather convincing victory here in this opening round tie at the inaugural World Seniors Darts Championship.
It's been 11 years since John Boy Walton's last
30.
ranking title at the England Masters, which is a title that he defended that year because he won it in 2010 as well. Obviously like that tournament because
100.
aside from being in the World Cup men's team for England, that's the only thing he won twice.
$121.
Twice the treble 20 is found by Les Wallace, but he may be waving goodbye to his stay here in
26.
Purfleet.
And just to give you an indication of the flexibility of the players from this generation, there was a tournament called the British Pentathlon. Oh, another slip into a big treble that wasn't on purpose there from Les Wallace. And Walton's thinking, are you going to keep doing this to me by hitting the 54 and the 36?
He made no secret of his thoughts, did he? Literally laughing in his face.
Yeah, talking about the British
81.
Pentathlon, where there are so many different disciplines used in that tournament. I could be here all day talking about them, but John Boy Walton won that tournament 3 times. 2002,
81.
and then 2010 as well. So he knows his way around a dartboard more than most.
$49. Leisure
Wallace
require 110.
find a way back into this match. 110 required. Treble 18 for double thereof. There's the treble.
74.
But he can't find the double. And Walton
John,
with a firework finish here could pull
160.
further away and closer to that checkered flag.
Not quite here. Les Wallace has got a chance to level
81.
things up.
Leisure
The early
require
portion of set
36.
3. Can't afford to miss.
Game
And doesn't.
shot on the
There was
second
some
leg.
fire behind that
Les
shot.
Wallace.
That was never short. And McDanger does
Third leg,
draw
it's
level.
John to throw first. Game on.
Walton is now in that position that a few people were in last night. Kevin Painter was in this position, and you're thinking at 2-0 up
41.
Got himself a leg early in set 3. Could well be 3-0, no bother. But we saw with some of the players last night, the most difficult dart was the one to win the match.
Yeah, absolutely. Took a while to get over the line. The best last visit of any match was actually from a losing player, wasn't it? Bob Anderson, a moment that's been shared widely. It was a 180. He got the finger point. He gets the hand in the air from John Walton after hitting his third.
Somewhat Alan Shearer-esque, that, wasn't it, from John Boy Walton? Head 11. Down, right hand up. I think McDanger's having a bit of fun out there at the minute. And why not?
Well, he just wanted equality. He wanted the same reception for his score of 11 that the 180 received from his opponent.
125.
Create cheers. They don't come for free, Les. You know this.
Well, there'll be some noise in the tavern tonight. It will be a cauldron when Taylor takes on Manley. Box office clash coming up this evening, but plenty of exciting ties to come. Stay with us all day here for a Friday feast of tungsten treats.
97.
Lovely switch there from John Boy. He's in 2-dart range now. Wallace is needing a ton or more to leave a finish to have any hope of not falling behind in this third set of the contest. But Walton is looking at an easy 2-darter here. I say easy. He can make it look easy. Sails over the bar. And a lovely adjustment as he puts himself within 501 points of victory here.
It's Les to throw first.
If he does find it over one of the next 2 legs, he'll be up against another John. A John that has won on this stage before, back in 2003.
95.
One of the greatest matches ever witnessed.
Party joins the party tomorrow at the Circus Tavern.
85.
You're looking forward to seeing that famous scowl of John Part just before he goes for a vital shot.
He's mellowed by now, surely.
He hasn't mellowed.
135.
Like a fine iced wine as John Part.
Time running out for Les Wallace in this one. Little opportunities mid-set, in every set really, that he hasn't taken, are going to cost him.
180.
But there is a fantastic moment, a magical maximum from the Scotsman.
I thought Les Wallace was going to give it the full Ric Flair there, give it the woo. He really enjoyed that.
100.
But very similar to what we saw from Bob Anderson last
91.
night. It could be a parting shot, but it may depend on the next leg because his gap here is sizable. He's going to line up tops.
51.
With a beautifully central single. And the destiny of this set is firmly in Les Wallace's hands right now. But for how long?
Well, that 180 could have changed everything.
180.
This one will just make him think. The fourth of the match for John Boy. Does it ruffle the feathers of Wallace?
Game shot on the fourth leg. Les Wallace.
That leg has shown that McDanger has still got
Fifth
game.
leg, it's John to throw first.
And how much more relaxed does he look now compared to the walk-on, where I think he looked a bit edgy? This is turning into a much better game than it was
60
in the first set for me.
Well, that was a 14-darter from Les Wallace, matching the best leg of the match produced by his opponent in that opening set.
60.
You notice, Murph, with some of these older players, they're not switching as much as, say, the newer school of players now. They don't utilise the 18s and the 19s and the 17s as much.
59.
They're very stubborn on the 60, aren't they?
Yeah, you mentioned the phrase a couple of times, old school, and does seem to be that way.
55.
All having a great time here at the Circus Tavern.
The day is young. They can't wait to see more legends, but who
100
is going to be back tomorrow?
just a delight for them to see icons on the stage that perhaps they wouldn't have expected to have ever seen again live playing a game of darts. But players have been saying it, this is more than an exhibition, this is a world championship, it's serious business for them.
85.
More than anything, for me, this is a celebration of what darts has been for the last 45 years. And on top of that, we're going to see players on this stage that we
85.
never thought would play here. John Boy's one of those players, and one of the others is Martin Adams. To see him at the Circus Tavern in a competitive match, if you'd have said that to me 20 years ago,
83.
I would have said you were joking.
Leisure require 161.
Is there life in this one yet? Walton will return with a match-winning checkout in prospect, 114.
101.
Pressurised.
John, you
by his
require
opponent.
114.
He cannot finish now. And that means that Les Wallace should get 2 darts to win a set and extend this encounter.
46.
If he does hit this 60 checkout,
Leisure require
John
60.
Walton could be in a very similar position to Kevin Painter from last night. It hangs on tops. Double 10 to win set 3.
40.
Doesn't really scare it, and Walton now is
John,
looking
you
at 68
require
to win the
68.
contest.
Treble 20. Well, now it's 63. That means he has to go 13 here. The treble will get him to double 12, but the single means bull. And he's got neither.
Just goes to show, doesn't it? It's the hardest visit of the match. When you're trying to win it,
28.
you can't really control what's going on.
Leisure
And
require
he doesn't
20.
even get a match dart from 68, but Wallace gets more set darts. That's his 3rd miss. Double 5. And he hasn't
15.
survived. What can Walton do with 3 darts at tops?
Well, surely now
John, you require 40.
he can land the killer blow. Wallace has had his chances, squandering set-winning opportunities here. Shaky at the end from John Boy. The last chance.
No score.
Wow.
That first dart really covered that bed.
Leisure require 5.
It made the next 2 almost impossible.
No score.
And Wallace gives him more shots. So it's a second attempt
John,
at
you
tops with 3 in
require
hand.
40.
It has been wobbly from Walton. Double 5.
30.
More match darts missed.
Leisure
First
require
job now for
5.
Wallace is to get the single 1. And he can't get
No
it.
score.
Now what does Walton do here? He's had 6 match
John, you
darts. He's
require
on an odd
10.
number double. Does he split this?
But he should have had more than 6 match darts as well. Let's not forget missing big numbers himself in trying to set up. Double 5 he goes for. That is now 9 match darts missed by John Boy Walton.
Leisure require 5.
In the same leg. This time the single is hit. You've got to love that reaction, but now the double 2. Got to get to work, Les.
Game
And he
time
does get to work by
set.
winning the set.
Les Wallace.
After 9 mismatched darts from John Boy Walton, McDanger's in the game. And after being 10 points away from winning the
Full
match,
set first leg. It's
now
Les to
John Boy
throw
Walton's
first.
got to
Game on.
get a lot more than that to win the contest now. He's got to win another 3 legs.
Well, Walton was walloping Wallace.
57.
Could have been a whitewash win, but it all got wobbly. And now Les Wallace not only has a foothold in this match, but all of a sudden has the
41.
crowd on his side. And who would have thought you'd get the crowd on your side by simply hitting a big single 1?
So that's where I went wrong in my career.
Well, when you hit them, Paul, you weren't actually aiming for them.
44.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate that. Good feedback.
Always a pleasure.
That's a good life for Walton, who's going to be feeling
60.
borderline dizzy right now because the match should be over. He should be talking to Helen Chamberlain about how he won 3-0. But if he does give himself more match darts, Murph, how's he going to feel?
Well, absolutely.
60.
Well, that is the question, because he never looked comfortable. But part of the reason he may not have split, just coming back to that on the 10 there, is because earlier on in the match he tried to split by hitting a single 2 and actually missed this segment
60.
entirely. He was more scared of missing a big number than he was of missing the double.
Sometimes you just got to go gung-ho and straight for the double.
121.
Wasn't that far away from hitting it. But Les Wallace is on a bit of a free roll now. He wasn't expected to be still in this match after 3 sets.
100.
He can relax, and in set 3 he did relax.
Well, the players upstairs in the practice room will be back to the board now. Paul was limbering up
97
for his match against Dave Prinz.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people from around the world watching Paul Lim
40.
when he graces this stage once again. He has
They
not
should
been
require
here for a very long
122.
time. These two have never been here. Playing their Trade and World Championships and other
29.
big majors at other venues. There was, of course, one WDF or BDO major played here back in 2019, won by John O'Shea of Ireland, winning the World Masters against
93.
the aforementioned Scott Waits. Walton has left himself on 60, with Wallace looking at treble 14 here.
Bit of a gamble there.
53.
Could have gone for the bullseye, and a 25 would have guaranteed
60.
him a dart at the bull for the leg. Loads of space to the left.
Shot on the first leg.
And Walton finds it, and finds himself in control once again.
I was just going to say, if he hits this first dart, what's his reaction going to be because of all those misses for the match in the previous leg?
There's a difference, isn't there? And it's a beauty of set play, because in leg play, match play, when you're ready to win the match, in the next leg you get to the double and you've got match darts again. Here, it's reset. He's got to win 3 legs, and a completely different outcome, different approach, different mindset.
Well, we were talking about it
41.
off the air earlier. The 156 from Painter last night, he was almost disappointed with it. And you look at the 60 check out of Walton here, no reaction. I think that's the professionalism coming out of John Boy.
I mean, you've been in that, but is that him saying, why could I have not have just done that 5 minutes ago?
He could have easily said that and animated that, but he chose not to.
100.
Because he realises he's got a job to do.
Wallace just still hanging around. Can't be shaken off the Scotsman. No, you were disappointed, Paul, not to see McDanger make his way to the stage donning a kilt.
100.
I thought that would have been a nice touch. We don't see enough kilts in darts. We do see some rather bright trousers from Scottish players like Peter Wright and Alan Suter, and I'm not going to forget about John Henderson and his tartan trousers.
Bagpipes accompanied him to the stage in Aberdeen in one of the most iconic moments in recent years. World Cup champion, of course, last year, John Henderson, alongside the tartan trousered Peter Wright. This Super Scotsman will not go away. Wallace weighs in with maximum number 2, the 6th of the game in total.
Well, funnily enough, that 180 doesn't hurt John Boy Walton because Wallace is still outside the finishing zone.
57.
And no treble approach from John Boy. Should be fine, as long as McDanger does not take another treble, which he does. Now there's massive pressure on this.
64.
How many darts does he get? It will just be 1. At tops.
24.
And now Wallace has 3 at the same target.
They should require 40.
He's been pretty good here, especially early in the match. That one's not in the way.
Game shot on the second leg.
Very well pitched, and it's 1-1 in set 4, and much to mull for Walton.
Les levels. Is Walton worrying? Wallace has the darts in the third leg
to throw first.
Of the fourth set. Remember, this is a match that Walton led by 2-0. Had a 2-1 lead in that third set as well.
81.
John Walton has played in 22 World Masters. Quite incredible. We've talked a lot over the last few months about people's streaks in playing World Championships. We've talked about Steve Beaton playing in the most now. He's the record holder for the most World Championships played in. And he's another
100.
example of someone over 50 who could have played here. But of course he is still playing in the professional game with the PDC.
45.
How difficult is it, Paul, when you're in a game, particularly in set play darts, to have missed so many? I'm sure you've never missed 9 match darts in any game, but
yeah, I missed 10.
and what was the outcome of the match in the end? You
lost the match against Dennis Ovens at the UK Open. 10 match darts over the course of 4 different legs, and I was pretty unapproachable for a while, but the scar tissue was huge.
The question during the match, after you've missed, say, even half of those darts, you were playing Dennis Ovens, I think 81. The best way to put it is, how do you try not to feel the heat?
And you keep thinking about what you've missed, as opposed to what you can hit. The worst thing about that occasion for me was that most of them were at my favourite double 16. Les Wallace, like you said, Murph, is not going away. If anything, I think he's getting a little bit better.
82.
Starting to enjoy himself. Starting to feel comfortable. Wallace.
100.
Feeling good. Walton anything but right now, despite having the lead still in sets. 74 here. Would see Wallace take the lead in legs and move one away from levelling the match.
34.
Got to get this number low. This is not helping. Needs a single 20 to leave a finish, but he gets a treble.
Makes
things a little bit easier if given the opportunity. Double 10 for the left-hander.
Game shot on the third leg.
Very exquisite on that double 10. And he's 2-1 up in this fourth set. And this game could be far from over.
To throw first. Game on.
Remarkable turn of events here at the Circus Tavern. John Boy Walton looked home and hosed. 2 sets 45. Up, missed 9 match darts. Should have had more. It all got shaky before he even got to a double. And Les Wallace was a little lucky. He missed opportunities himself. Twice he missed the big one.
100.
One thing that has changed over the last few legs for me is that Wallace's rhythm with all 3 darts has got so much better. He looks more comfortable right now than any point in this match, and that is a worry for John Boy. I think there's a look on Les's face as well, as if to say, do you know what, I fancy this now.
30.
They're 2-0 down. This is a doable situation all of a sudden.
I would agree. I think he feels like he has cause for optimism, hope. He's believing.
Some sharks in the crowd. Don't jump in the water, everybody.
I think they had
81
JDC logos on the front of those shirts, so we're seeing support for different generations, the junior game and the senior game here.
I know a lot of the people in this generation really do like the work that's going into the junior game, but a lot of work there from the Yorkshireman to get himself way down in the score. Great leg here from John Boy. Couple of tons and a 180 in there. Is he going to have company under 170?
His maximum hitting up there with the best we've seen so far
John, you
this weekend. Robert Thornton managing half a dozen yesterday. And again, he's made the finish tricky for himself.
Leaving awkward numbers with 2 darts. Almost a good save. Single 18 will leave tops, and he will get
36.
a look at it. But where have we said that before?
Yeah, we certainly are seeing some tension in the arm of John Walton. And the pressure can be ramped up here with another treble. Couldn't quite find it, but he is still breathing down the neck of his opponent. Tops to take the set to a deciding leg.
Game shot on the
we are going to a one-leg shootout set 4. So it's point of no return for Les Wallace.
Fifth
but for
leg,
Walton,
it's Les to throw first.
yet again,
game on.
He is faced with a one-leg shootout, and if he wins it, he's going to be through to play John Part of Canada. The 3-time world champion, a man who's won the world title
100.
on this stage at the Lakeside, and was the first person to win the world title at Alexandra Palace back in 2008.
Wallace opening with a ton,
100.
matched by his opponent, who will be thinking, just stay with him, try and get an opportunity. That prospect becoming more difficult as Wallace finds a treble
85.
once again with one of his errors.
Walton's the one under pressure here, because he's
26.
the one who comes up with 26. And he's against the throw here. Wallace is handling the pressure quite well.
60.
This has got the air of a local league game as such, because in local leagues you're playing one-leg shootouts all the time. But there's a bit more pressure on this. Prize money, pride, still the opportunity of lifting that beautiful trophy. So much on the line. And he wants to take it to set 5, because anything's possible there.
81.
That's a great last start.
Big moments coming up. Crucial exchanges.
100.
Neither player want to finish after a dozen darts each. That means advantage Les Wallace, poised to force a 5th and final set.
He's taking his time on this option, and what an option he is taking. Now what does he do when he comes back? Does he go for the odd number double, or does he split it? In this match we've seen him leave things like tops a lot.
Leisure required.
What's he going to do? Straight for it? You betcha. He's gone and won set 4, and after being 2-0 down, it's all tied. We're going to set 5.
Not many people thought
first leg, it's John to throw first.
The match referee,
game on.
Charlie Corsafine, will be saying the words 5th and final set, particularly the man on the hockey now, John Walton, who cannot believe he finds himself in this position. He led
60.
this match by 2-0, missed 9 darts to win it in straight sets, but Wallace has fought back, he's come back, and now he looks like the most likely, despite the fact that Walton has the darts in this decider. And the point to make there is, of course, in a deciding set, you have to win by 2 clear legs.
Absolutely right.
28.
The doubt is in the player wearing white. There is a confidence about Les Wallace now. He's believing, because he's hitting that 60 bet
100.
more often than any point in this match. He's walking a little bit quicker towards the back of the stage as well, just a sign that he's got a bounce in his step. Look at his scores at the start of this 5th set as well. Ton 40, backing it up with a ton. Walton coming up with no trebles in his first 9 darts.
25 years since Les Wallace was crowned world champion.
45.
Here he is, looking for another big moment on a big stage.
Takes a very brave man, in my opinion,
137.
in this venue to wear a long-sleeved rugby shirt in this atmosphere, because boy does it get hot up there. There's not many players who actually wear long sleeves when they play. Stompy was very famous for that.
26.
Seen Peter Wright dressed as a Grinch long-sleeved once before. That's pretty much all I can remember off the top of my head.
60.
Some long sleeve lab coats there.
I wonder if they've got the formula for victory. Who's got it in this match? Because it's looking more likely that the Nobel Prize for victory is going to go to Scotland.
John, you require 156.
Walton needs to find some magic from somewhere. In danger of being broken here.
58.
And Les Wallace, who has hung around in this match and forced a final set, has 2 darts at tops to get on top in it.
Game shot on the first
and he is on top. He's in charge. He's in command. And Walton is in massive danger now.
It's Les to throw first. Game on.
That little look that Les has just given John was as if to say, what's happening here then? This wasn't part of the script. I think Walton is a bit caught in headlights 45. Right now, as if to say, why didn't I just win this 3-0 with 9 different darts to win the match in the same leg? That seems like an eternity
100.
ago. Now we're going to see that familiar tale where a player comes back and then gets himself in the winning position and starts to struggle themselves. Wallace off with 45 and still
25.
Unable to muster up a score. A straight visit.
Let's face facts. If winning was easy, we'd all do it. They're
45.
proving right now that winning is hard. A lot of the elite players in the world of darts right now make this game look simple. It is anything but.
A reminder,
100.
wins so far at the World Seniors Darts Championship for Robert Thornton, Peter Manley, Kevin Painter and the hometown hero Richie Howson in the final match of last evening.
121.
The first match of this afternoon looked like it was going to be wrapped up in double quick time by John Walton, but now his opponent is favourites to get through to face John Part.
140.
Maybe at some point in this tournament we will get a World Championship final rematch. We're going to get at least one of them, because tonight Manley versus Taylor headlines by quite some distance.
The 3 world finals that pair contested were all on this stage.
50.
At least Peter Manley won't be beaten by 7 sets to 0 tonight, Paul.
He'll be hoping he's not 7 legs down against Taylor later. That would mean he's 2 sets to 0 down and 1 leg down.
60.
60 from Walton, but he is in 2-dot range
141.
now.
He's going to get the opportunity, but it's going to be absolutely crucial that he takes it.
65.
Just look at some of the crowd. They're engrossed in this.
Require 80.
And they can't quite believe what they've seen so far. Another single for John. That's a good shot. And that's even better. Look how central that tops is to level things up at 1-1 in the final set.
Third leg, it's John to throw first. Game on.
Well, we went almost the full distance in the match between Kevin Painter and Tony O'Shea yesterday. Didn't quite make it to a sudden death leg, but we did reach a tiebreak, and this one is looking likely to go a similar way.
I guarantee you that these two have not played a match this long for quite some time.
Not only go a similar way, but in a similar way as well, because 43. Painter could have wrapped that one up 3-0, couldn't he?
Yes, he could have. He was irate with himself for 2 sets that he didn't. But the way he was able to come through by 6 legs to 4 in the final set just goes to show the fighting spirit that he still possesses. And I think what Les has done from 2-0 down is testament to what he's still got in his heart.
One of the darting Bravehearts, Mr. Wallace of Scotland.
140.
Walton still plugging away. He knows that he hasn't lost this battle yet.
It's the beauty of set play.
100.
But he had all of those match darts and had to go all the way back to the beginning of a set to try and construct a chance. But even when he loses set 4, it's 45. The same scenario. So that's the positive side of it for John. It's not really a best-of-3 contest here. technically it is. If you win 2 straight, you win the contest, but
25.
if it goes to 2-2, then all of a sudden you've got to win by 2 clear again.
Yeah, well, you get to the point, don't you, where if you get a leg up, both players are under pressure because one's throwing to win the match, the other one's throwing to stay in it.
140.
I've been involved in some tiebreakers in this format myself, and they are nerve-shredding. Walton's ability over the last couple of legs
70.
has been good.
John, you
66 is an
require
interesting
66.
shot. Lots of options here. Treble 10, bullseye, treble 14. But it's going to be double top once again for the lead. Bingo for John Walton. 2-1 up, and now has another opportunity to win the match from 2-1 up in this set.
He's just having a little chuckle to himself. I think I lip-read the word unbelievable there, because he is wondering why it's taken this long to get the form back from earlier in the match.
We can say it's kind of funny, but it's not for John. That most of the darts he missed for the match were in that department, and since then he's been quite good at it.
100.
We had the chance to wrap it up here to avoid going into a tie-break situation by winning the final set 3-1.
100.
You said that it was quite similar to the Painter-O'Shea match. It's looking to be that way, because ever since Les Wallace
85.
got himself level on 2 sets all, it just seems to have come back a little bit. Maybe the pressure of, oh, I can win this now.
A really big leg of darts
95
for Les Wallace. He knows if he loses it, he's out. Not only does he stay in it by winning it, but he forces Walton to win 2 more legs.
66.
That's the genius of this format. You can never go to sleep. Wallace looking to leave himself in finishing zone here. It's going to stay straight.
100.
Uses that second dart to perfection. Lovely ton.
So 1-2-1 to reach parity in the final set.
100.
Walton on a finish.
121.
May get another match-winning shot. But not if Wallace can find a treble 17 and a bullseye. He can't. 150 would be some
57.
way to win it.
John, you require 150.
A lot of people like the 19s here. 2 treble 19s for double 18. That was the intended route. He's probably wishing he'd gone 60s now.
It's worth putting pressure on 64
80.
though. No guarantee that Wallace gets more than a dart at double. And it will just be the one, 16 or 8. 80 gets for double top. But 24. It's over the top, so now another chance arrives. 9 darts missed for the match
John,
already.
You require 70.
How many more does John Boy Walton get?
Let's find out. It's 1.
Game
and it's in.
Start.
Match
and
start number 10
John Walton
is the lucky number for John Boy Walton.